a doctor. She's a patient. It's my duty to treat her.
There's no drug in the world that can speed up her recovery.
If she can't control her anger, I'm afraid that not even time will work.
So it should be phlegm retention and yin damage.
Nonsense!
This bitterness is unbearable. This is the best you can do? Give them 20 lashes each. Get them out of here!
But what happened yesterday was a big mistake.
Did you say that you loved and will protect Victoriano? Then do it. End your relationship with that man. Don't get involved with Emiliano because you'll regret it.
You did not threaten me.
Neither do you.
Cassandra is the daughter of Victoriano Santos.
What?
Diana.
What? Alejandro.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya heshima, bonyeza *811 *817 hash.
Ukiwa mtu wa heshima, utaheshimiwa. Ukiwa mtu wa kupeana, nawe utapewa. Ukiwa wewe ni wa kudharau wengine, utadharauliwa. Ukiwa wa chuki, malipo ni yale yale. Ikiwa wewe ni mtu wa haramu, vile vile itakupata tu. Na kama wewe ni mtu wa kushauri kwa hekima, hautawahi kosa. Kama wewe ni mtu wa watu.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya heshima, kama skiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 *817 hash. *811 *817 hash.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Express. Tonight we tell you details of what has been happening in the political field, which politician has been where. We have the details lined up for you, and including our interview tonight, Serfine.
Tonight we prioritize the welfare of older persons in the society. We're just going to be looking at some of the challenges that they go through and what are the priority areas if we are to come up with policies and better decisions that will empower them and give them better environments to thrive. And you'll also be surprised that a chunk of the population also need opportunities. Many will say, why opportunities? They are old, they're in their sunset days. But then they also need opportunities because they have the hidden gem, the wisdom of the yesteryears. They have things that they can offer the society that we can actually benefit from. And that is what we will be discussing a little bit later with the country representative for Kenya, the Helpage International, Mr. Jude Otogo.
All right, that will be coming up later. But for now, the highlights. Jocelyn Jepkosgei wins the London Marathon as Vincent Kipchumba secures second position in the men's race. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi dismisses political endorsements. This is early campaigns intensify. And in our interactive segment, we discuss the welfare of the elderly in the society.
All right, and those are some of the stories we got contained in our comprehensive news bulletin. Welcome on board. Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter. My name is Serfine Achieng.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. We start off tonight's bulletin with the news that Jocelyn Jepkosgei stumped to victory in her debut appearance at the London Marathon, ensuring the women's title remains in Kenya.
The 2019 New York Marathon led the top runners in finishing under 2 hours 19 minutes. In the men's race, Kenyan Vincent Kipchumba settled for a second place behind Sisei Lema of Ethiopia.
Compared to an elite-only race last year, the 41st edition of the London Marathon saw 40,000 runners on the course and another 40,000 completing the distance virtually.
Olympic silver medalist from the Peckham BMX Club signals the start of tens of thousands of dreams here.
The London Marathon, a World Athletics Elite Platinum Label event, returned to a full-scale race on Sunday, and it turned out to be a day of mixed fortunes for Kenya in the 41st edition held in fine, dry and cool conditions.
Women's field is really quite something. Of course, we saw a world half marathon.
Jocelyn Jepkosgei, winner of the New York Marathon in 2019 and runner-up in Valencia last year, outran a field of 20 elite athletes in her debut London outing.
The pace that these women set off at, you know, so if some of them weren't in that sort of shape, they're going to start to struggle now.
Yeah, but there's no disgrace in that performance. He's beaten his lifetime best. He's inside 2:05 for the first time.
Defending champion Shura Kitata of Ethiopia finished 6th.
Number of challenges affecting the region if elected as Kenya's next president. Raila pledged to address the teacher crisis in the northeastern region once and for all that has been a thorn in the flesh for learners. Raila, who was accompanied by several leaders including Area Governor Ali Kurani, his Kakamega counterpart Wycliffe Oparanya, as well as Siaya Senator James Orengo, disclosed that he was the brain behind the tarmacking of the Garissa-Nuno Modogasho Road. He said the top on his agenda, if elected, will be the completion of stalled road projects in the area. The former premier is expected to address a delegates meeting to be attended by leaders from Garissa, Wajir, Isiolo, Marsabit and Mandera on Monday.
Staying on that political scene, Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi maintains the next president will be determined by the masses through the ballot box and not endorsements by individuals. Mudavadi further said the One Kenya Alliance flag bearer will be decided by Kenyans and not political formations. In reference to the recent endorsement of Baringo Senator Gideon Moi as KANU's flag bearer, Musalia said all One Kenya Alliance principles have only been endorsed by their respective parties.
ANC uchumi bora, bas hiyo ndio ishara ya ANC. Tunaelewana?
Kile ambacho kilifanyika ni kwamba chama chake kilikuwa kinampatia heshima awe presidential candidate. ANC pia tayari ilikuwa imefanya hivyo kwanza. Kwa hivyo sisi kwa pale ilikuwa in solidarity na mheshimiwa Gideon wa KANU. Sio kusema kwamba huo ndio uamuzi wa One Kenya. Wale vijana ambao wamehitimu sasa, wale wa miaka 18, tungependa wapate nafasi, wasajiliwe, wapige kura, kwa sababu kura yao itakuwa na maana sana mwaka ujao wakiamua wanataka viongozi wa aina gani. Sisi kwa pale ilikuwa in solidarity na mheshimiwa Gideon wa KANU. Sio kusema kwamba huo ndio uamuzi wa One Kenya.
Speaking when he attended a church service and the wedding ceremony of Amani National Congress Party Nairobi branch chairman Brian Mulama at the Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu, Musalia Mudavadi called on Kenyans to remain peaceful and make wise decisions at the ballot come 2022. Musalia at the same time urged youths to take advantage of the voter registration window to enlist so that they can exercise their democratic right come next year.
Wale vijana ambao wamehitimu sasa, wale wa miaka 18, tungependa wapate nafasi, wasajiliwe, wapige kura, kwa sababu kura yao itakuwa na maana sana mwaka ujao.
The same call to the youth was made by Orange Democratic Movement presidential hopeful Jimmy Wanjigi, who attended Sunday service at Makupa PCEA Church in Mombasa County. Wanjigi maintaining he's not ready to drop his presidential ambition for anyone until ODM delegates pick their preferred flag bearer.
The young people of this country are going to be about 70% of the vote. Register, register, register. It is important that we are transparent in these elections. The whole country is looking at what ODM does, and ODM has a responsibility as one of the oldest standing parties in this republic to show the country that it is democratic.
And the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will officially kickstart the enhanced continuous voter registration exercise on Monday. The 45 days exercise is targeting to register over 6 million new voters, majority being youth who have attained the age of 18 years.
Now, still in politics, Deputy President William Ruto is urging the church not to look not to lock out politicians, saying they not only need spiritual nourishment, but also support. Ruto, who spent the day in Kisii County, he attended 2 separate church services, used Bible verses to deliver politically loaded messages, which called for sobriety in politics to promote peace, cohesion, and empowering of Kenyans economically.
Ama wakitendawili. Hebu nione watu wa UDA, watu wa UDA, watu wa UDA, watu wa UDA.
Kisii County on Sunday played host to Deputy President William Ruto, who attended service in 2 churches. The first was Mass at St. Dennis Kenyenya Catholic Church in Bomachoge, Borabu. Thereafter, he joined congregants at Deliverance Church International, Kitutu Central.
It is also my contribution on evangelism. I am evangelizing the people in my corner. So when you see them come to church, please receive them and preach the word of God to them. It's the only opportunity you have to show them God.
In respecting calls by a section of the clergy to keep politics off the pulpit, Ruto delivered a message inspired by the gospel.
In fact, Paul says there are even those who preach the word of God out of pretense. But he doesn't begrudge them. He says, so long as the word of God is being preached, wacha neno la Mungu liendelee. Hata kama mtu amekuja kanisani hapo akitegea siasa, wacha tu akuje, atapatana na neno la Mungu.
The Deputy President quoting scripture to emphasize the importance of peace and unity and how his bottom-up approach works.
He raises the poor out of the dust and lifts the needy out of the ash heap. And it goes on to say that he may sit him with princes. And in fact, in another fashion, it says he sits them with kings and princes. That is the meaning of bottom-up, good people.
Kila mtu ako na nafasi ya kuendesha biashara yake.
Later, accompanied by a section of leaders from the region, he opened an office block of the Bomachoge Church Constituency Development Funds and addressed wananchi in Kenyenya, Mogonga, Tendere, Ogembo, Ikoba, Tabaka, Nyachenge and Suneka markets in Kisii County. Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
Thank you, Kamche. Away from that political sermon to now matters COVID-19. The COVID-19 positivity rate dropped to 2.7% on Sunday after 91 people tested positive for the disease from 3,435 samples screened in the last 24 hours. The total confirmed positive cases now stand at 250,114. So far, 5,140 people have succumbed to COVID-19 after 9 late deaths were reported from facility record audits in the months of July, August and October 2021. Between Saturday and Sunday, 308 patients recovered from the deadly disease, pushing the cumulative recoveries to 242,535. Data from the Johns Hopkins University shows that more than 234.7 million cases and over 4.79 million deaths have been reported globally. Meanwhile, the government on Sunday received the final consignment of the 2.2 million special syringes to be used for Pfizer vaccines in the country. Now, across the counties, an organization in Kakamega County has started an initiative to mobilize communities to form disaster management clubs to respond to emergencies. The initiative is set to empower locals on quick action in case of an emergency. Here are the details of this and other stories in our county news roundup.
Professionals and experts in Disaster Management Volunteers Association of Kenya in Kakamega are encouraging and supporting community members to form clubs comprising 60 people with the aim of swift response to emergencies within their locality. The association believes through the club system, community members will be engaged in identifying projects that need to be prioritized to address the challenges they face.
Through those clubs, whereby they can do the preparedness, they know what they need to do. If there is an issue of floods, they know what they'll do. If it's about building collapses in the area, they'll know what to do. Issue of accidents, they'll know what to do. And then, if it happens, they'll respond.
In West Pokot, lawyers in partnership with the Rotary Club Kiserian have begun an initiative to sensitize the community on the importance of trees in averting landslides. During the launch of the initiative, the lawyers, boda riders and community members planted more than 1,000 trees in the degraded Kamatira forest.
It is our initiative as members of Rotary Club of Kiserian to contribute to the 10% forest cover in Kenya. And so today we are here with the community members to sensitize the community.
In Baringo, poor coordination of distribution of clean water has been cited as major concern. Experts are calling for synergies among partners to address water challenges in the area to avert contraction and spread of waterborne diseases.
And WASH cannot work without having access to clean water and access to a clean environment.
In Muranga, Ahadi Kenya Trust boss Stanley Kamau is urging the government to provide free legal services to widows in the country. Kamau says most widows lack the know-how on the process and end up losing their property.
What I want to appeal to the government and also the county government is to see whether we can have legal officers, especially from the government or even the law side of Kenya, some legal experts who can be able to guide the widows on the issues of succession and the issues of inheritance.
In Makueni, a family in Kilome is appealing to well-wishers to help raise 1 million shillings for their kin who requires urgent surgery at the Kenyatta National Hospital to save her life. Magdalene Mutindi was diagnosed with breast cancer last year and her medical bills have exhausted her family's finances.
Kenyatta walikuwa wanahitaji 300, hiyo ni ya surgery peke yake. Sasa chemotherapy ilikuwa kando, radiotherapy ilikuwa kando, immunotherapy zilikuwa kando. Sasa hiyo ilikuwa tu ni ya surgery peke yake. Ilikuwa inakuja around 1 am. Ndio nipate matibabu yote ikiwa full, nisiachie katikati.
Well, it's time for us to take our very first breather on Sunday Express. But before we do, a reminder of our interview tonight. The focus is on old people.
Yes, older persons in the society. We just marked the International Day of Older Persons on the 1st of October. It's a very good time to talk about their welfare and some of the things we need to do as a society to create a better living environment for them. We'll be having that conversation after this particular break. Already in studio, we have our guest, Jude Otogo. He's the country representative, Helpage International. We'll be discussing with him the way forward when it comes to addressing the welfare of older persons.
And of course, because it is end month, remind everyone, tuma kitu
nyumbani. not just tuma kitu. Actually, one of the biggest challenges is that neglect kuachwa. You know, hii tabia sending money. Once in a while, wewe pia panda gari, henda, go spend time with them. We'll be coming back with that and much more after the break, so stay with us.
I'm a doctor. She's a patient. It's my duty to treat her.
There's no drug in the world that can speed up her recovery.
If she can't control her anger, I'm afraid that not even time will work.
So it should be phlegm retention and yin damage.
Nonsense!
This bitterness is unbearable. This is the best you can do? Give them 20 lashes each. Get them out of here! Anaendelea vipi?
Naweza kwambia endelee vibaya. At least in hospital in time.
Mama mimi sikuacha kazi. Ilikuwa nimetoka off.
Bila ruhusa yangu. Wataka niseme nini wewe? Kwani ulikuwa wataka afe? Bado hujatosheka na ulichokifanya?
Babe, tell me.
But what happened yesterday was a big mistake.
Did you say that you loved and will protect Victoriano? Then do it. End your relationship with that man. Don't get involved with Emiliano because you'll regret it.
You did not threaten me.
Neither do you.
Cassandra is the daughter of Victoriano Santos.
What?
Diana.
What? Alejandro.
Toda completa, olvida reservas, olvida el temor. Dame la llave secreta.
Welcome and thank you for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, we are about to have a conversation that is very important, centering around the older persons in the society, a conversation that is coming just days after we observe the International Day of Older Persons. And we just want to better understand how we can be there for them and also tap into what they have to offer, because there is a lot, as my guest will be letting us know. His name is Jude Otogo. Jude is the country representative for for HelpAge International Kenya. Thank you so much for creating time for us, Jude.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, perhaps a good place to start would be for us to understand what is your mandate as HelpAge International?
Well, HelpAge International is a secretariat to a number of organizations globally, slightly more than 150 organizations that work with older persons to advance their rights and well-being. That's what HelpAge does. Works with older persons to advance the rights and well-being of older persons in the world.
All right. It's good that we have you today because we just want to sink into their world and to understand how we can be there for them in a better, way to improve how we have been treating them in the past. And let's begin by understanding, when we talk about older persons, what percentage or what numbers do they occupy when it comes to if you look at the demographic, what percentage do they account for as older people?
Thank you, Serfine. In Kenya currently, we have in excess of 2.7 million older persons. Those are individuals aged 60 years and above. That's about 6% of the total population of this country, slightly more than what the age of those under 5 years is. And that's not a population that you just want to ignore. It has impacts on society, impacts on the economy, and indeed, that populace is an opportunity. Contrary to what most people consider older persons to be, that they are burden in society, they are spent forces. No, they are not. They are a gem. It's a resource that we can utilize to advance our national agenda.
That is exactly why we're here, so that we can see how that relationship can be a win-win and how we can change that perspective of looking at them as a burden as opposed to people who can actually play a role in pushing this nation forward. And I just want to understand from you, because you cited in excess of 2.7 million.
Correct.
I underlined the word in excess, just so that you can help us understand. What do you mean when you say in excess of 2.7 million?
That was in the year 2019 during the national census. And the one thing about the older population is actually growing and growing very fast. So my assumption is for the past close to 2 years, that population has gone up. Probably it's like 3 million currently. This is a population that most have retired from gainful employment, okay? But that does not mean that they are no longer useful. All of us would like to experience healthy aging. And what does that mean? Ability to experience some very unique desires. For example, we want to be what we love and to do what we love and value. And some of those things include ability to move around, ability to meet our basic needs, ability to build relationships, ability to learn, grow, and make decisions, and many other things. So we have a population whose needs span across those areas I've mentioned. They are not engaged in any gainful employment because they have retired. But it's not true that they cannot make a contribution. For example, we may just be required to reorient slightly their engagement in society. If, for example, there's a teacher that has retired, we can engage them for 2 or 3 days a week based on their capacity. We should give the opportunities to go back to school and study for masters, for PhD, and come back and serve. Take, for example, the constitutional offices. People serve well into their 70s. Why then are ordinary older persons not considered in the same light? Those are some of the things that we are grappling with. When it comes to health, again, when somebody attains the age of 60, that's when they experience the most non-communicable diseases. They require Medicare. But what happens? When Jude is in employment, his employer takes care of his health needs. When he retires and when he needs the most that health care, there's nobody to cater for their health needs. Even health insurance companies discriminate against people age 60 and above. In fact, only one company that recently introduced a cover for people age 60 and above. Are we together? Come to NHIF, which is like the universal health pension for the country. Most people contribute through their statutory deductions when they're in employment. Thereafter, they have to dig into their pockets. But do they have the resources to pay for that 500 shillings for NHIF? So you can see the challenges that older persons grapple with in society.
Yeah, true. And as we continue talking about those challenges, and I'd just like to take you back to a survey that Help Age International conducted in 2020 that highlighted some of these issues you're talking about. I just want to understand on a basic level, what are some of the key challenges, the priority areas that you identified that we need to be focusing on as a country, just looking at our context as Kenya?
Great. This year, like last year's International Day of Older Persons, is celebrated or was celebrated amidst the raging COVID-19 pandemic. And besides the fact that older persons are more exposed and at a greater risk of contracting the virus, suffering severe forms and succumbing to the same, the pandemic has also had great impact on their social life, on their economic lives, on their well-being. Why do I say this? Due to the containment measures, older persons were literally confined to their residences. What does that mean? That they will not get an opportunity to associate with family, relate with friends, make trips wherever it is that they were going. Probably for those that had some jobs to earn them some little income, again, they lost that. And so they were exposed in more ways than one. During this survey that we did to basically get to appraise the kind of challenges older persons face, it came out very clearly that most of them were unable to access health services. Most of them could not get adequate nutrition or other food supplies. Access to water and sanitation services were a problem. They were abused because of that confinement. They were abused and experienced violence and neglect, causing some of them to develop mental and psychosocial conditions. So those are some of the challenges that older people faced and continue facing in the COVID-19 pandemic era. Yes.
So when it comes to planning for this population, what principles ought to guide us? How do we then go about it? Because you say they actually attribute to 6% of the entire population, and this is a population that cannot be ignored. We all agree on that. What are some of the principles that should guide the planning and even the budgeting for this special demographic?
I would probably put responsibility at 3 levels.
Yeah.
I said all of us would love to experience healthy aging, ability to meet our basic needs, enjoy the best health, be able to travel around and all that. And the first thing that I would urge this nation to do is have the leadership commit themselves to putting in place policies and systems that promote healthy aging. What do I mean by that? Let's take, for example, the healthcare system. It is biased towards other population cohorts and not older persons. There are not many health programs that focus on older persons, a whole 6% of the population. Yet we have programs for the youth, for adolescents, for women, for children, but older persons are not featuring anywhere. We therefore would like the leadership to put in place a policy and legislative framework that promotes better health for older persons. Secondly, I mentioned that they need to meet their basic needs for health, for food, for shelter, for clothing and all that. But how do they meet their needs if they do not have a sustainable source of income? Thanks to our president, at least 70-year-olds and above have access to the universal pension. Excellent. What happens to those that are aged between 60 and 69, that have retired, that are not on any pension? Can we have some social protection mechanisms in place? Let the national government have that in place. Let the county governments have that in place. So then older persons live some kind of dignified life. The other thing that the leadership could do is put in place laws that outlaw ageism, where ageism means prejudice, discrimination, and stereotyping based on age. For example, somebody would say older persons are a burden, they are slow. That's ageism. Actually, it's like discriminating them simply because they are old. They are not any different from you and I. The only difference is that they're a bit advanced in age. That is for the leadership. When it comes to society, let's interact with older persons. Let's help them relate. Let's help them to have self-esteem. Let's not discriminate against them. Okay? Let's not be prejudicial to them. That's what the society can do. And for the individual older persons, there are those decisions that we take, that we make. We call them healthy lifestyles. Taking a walk in the evening, doing some housework, forming a group with other older persons, and just having psychosocial support amongst themselves. So those are the three levels that we need to address when it comes to older persons experience healthy aging. It's really about having an environment that's facilitative of healthy aging. And when I talk of environment here, I'm not just talking of the physical or the built environment. Relationships is a social environment. We need a police environment, a political environment that's all supportive of the health and the well-being of older persons.
All right. I just want to quote, part of, the speech you had when we were marking the International Day of Older Persons, and probably on something you said, and this is something that I quote from your speech. Older persons have a wealth of knowledge and experience and should therefore remain integrated in the society, participate in policy formulation and implementation, but also impart this intellectual wealth to younger generations. How much of this is happening though? And how do we leverage in this gem that we've been talking about? Because clearly from what you're saying, there's a hidden gem in this demographic. How much of it are we tapping, and how do we, make this practical?
Serfine, if we are tapping anything at all, it must be very little.
Yeah.
The truth is, we have not engaged older persons and drawn from that wealth of experience, of knowledge. The best would be to have intergeneration programming, where we have forums of youth or the younger people interacting or intersecting with older persons, with the younger people mentoring older persons, for example, in an area of technology, digital technology. Very important. Let's engage the younger people to mentor older persons on that, and the older persons to mentor younger people on areas that they have gone through life. So far, there isn't that plan in place. There isn't such a program, and we have deliberately go out and find areas of possible intersections between the younger generation and the older generation. Now that I talked about reverse mentorship, maybe I could also just mention about technology. Currently, the world is really living or riding on digital revolution. Everything literally happens on the basis of technological advances. We do transactions through the phone, through the internet. We do our meetings virtually. Even health, we have mHealth and eHealth. People consult virtually. They order for their medicines and receive using technological applications. But where are older people in all that?
Good question. And as you continue, it's good to also point out that formed the basis of the theme for this year's International Day of Older Persons, digital equity for all ages. I find that theme really inspiring, because most of the time when you talk about older persons in the society and going digital, you disconnect these two things because you feel maybe they may not be conversant with what is happening in the digital world. So you asked a very important question, and I want you to just tell us, how then do we go about it? Where are the older persons when we are talking about going digital?
Thank you. I still want to emphasize the importance of, one, having appropriate or supportive policies. Does this country have a policy on technology that brings in the older person? I don't think so. Do counties, because they are independent governments, have policies in place? But having said that, can we even at the community level, as society, organize opportunities for older persons to use as simple things as the phone? Some older person can barely do a transaction on their phone. Is it that they can't learn? No, they can learn, just like the younger people. Why do they have to give their phones to a younger person to go and withdraw cash for them? Why do they have to be taken to the bank to go and withdraw the 4,000 shillings that government has given them? Why can't they do mobile banking and don't suffer the trouble of having to travel, which puts them at risk actually? So there is a lot that society can do. There is a lot that the leadership can do at the national and the county or the subnational government levels.
All right. I just want to understand about, how do we, in terms of your recommendations on this particular, study that you conducted as an organization, what were some of the policy gaps that, probably you identified, and were there ways in which you could seal them as a country, looking at the policies we've had when it comes to the welfare of older persons? Was there something that touched on that in your survey?
We can only infer from our findings and make recommendations to the leadership of the country, to the leadership of the counties, and to
for me to know that he's watching. Oyando, thank you. Prince Rooney, watching from Chwele. Chwele is in Bugoma. Thank you, Prince. Steve Oyando, watching from Kisi, Darajambili. Martin Otogo, you say good job. Jude Otogo, that was our guest tonight. And Zax Doti, watching from County 011, Isiolo County. Thank you so much, all of you, for creating time to catch Sunday Express tonight.
My name is John Jacob Kioria. Have yourself a fantastic night. Our sign language interpreter has been Anwangishi.
And my name is Serfine Achieng Oma. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed night.
Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash.
Aki umefanya vizuri sana kunifikia hii simu sasa. Nimekuwa na stress kutoka asubuhi kabisa. Na ni huyu mtu ambaye alikuwa anapatiana majina ya vitu. Kwani hakutufikiria sisi watu wa Eastern Ukambani? Ni nani alisema ati wife kwa Kiswahili ni mke? Na akasema ati handbaka. Hii inabebwa na mwanamke, handbaka. Ati kwa Kiswahili ni kibeti. Huku kwetu mke ndiye kibeti.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash. Star 811 star 962 hash.
Anaendelea vipi?
Kwanza kwambia endelee vibaya. At least you're in hospital in time.
Mama mimi sikuacha kazi. Ilikuwa nimechotoka off.
Bila ruhusa yangu. Wataka niseme nini wewe? Kwani ulikuwa wataka afe? Bado hujatosheka na ulichokifanya?
Babe, tell me.
But what happened yesterday was a big mistake.
Did you say that you loved and will protect Victoriano? Then do it. And your relationship with that man. Don't get involved with Emiliano because you'll regret it.
You did not threaten me.
Neither do you.
Cassandra is the daughter of Victoriano Santos.
What?
Diana.
What? Alejandro.
Toda completo, olvida reservas, olvida el temor. Dame la llave secreta.
Hello, good people. Welcome to Save a Life, a program designed in transforming lives. And my name is Joseph Moremi. And today, Save a Life is in Nairobi County, Kasarani constituency, a place called Njiro. We are here to highlight a very sad story of a young man whose ambition was to become an IT, but because of a disease, he's not able to go towards his dream. Has been sick for the last how many years now? 4 years. Wanjiro, who is the